This should be working. So Amy, it's your birthday in 2 days. Are you
It's true.
excited?
I am excited.
Got big plans?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about your plans?
Yes. Well, so hopefully, if the weather holds on, I'm gonna go hiking across the Presidential Traverse in New Hampshire with Gunnar and a bunch of his friends and our friends.
Awesome. Sounds good. It's not exactly biking in Davos.
Or Leadville or Breck Epic in Colorado, or the Grand Traverse in Colorado, but it still should be pretty epic.
No, there's a lot of things we haven't done this year in terms of travel.
No, it's true.
One of the things we haven't done is pick skis.
Right. How is that happening? How are we getting our skis picked this year?
So we've had to make commitments earlier because we need other people to pick the skis for us. So instead of traveling over in September to finish our ski selection, we're asking the World Cup service techs to make our selections. And that means I've gone through and tried to describe what the salient aspects of quality that we're looking for are, rather than ask them to pick a specific ski for a specific customer. I'm trying to get really good skis. So that's the big thing.
And how is it going to differ for each of the brands we carry?
Well, we got to sort of speak their language. Everyone measures skis differently, so the metrics that we're using to describe the skis have to be really tailored to the brand. We can't use our own kind of system to request skis. What we can do is ask them to make some additional measurements. For example, Fisher doesn't make a measurement and report it about the resting camber height of the skis, but we always measure the resting cambers when we're selecting the skis, and we track that. So I made them a little photo of our special tool for testing resting cambers. It's a scraper with a piece of tape on it with a millimeter measure. So I requested the skis with specific resting camber ranges according to the conditions and based on our experience, and those guys said fine, okay. And so we'll have to see when the skis arrive. Solomon puts like 1 million test values, flex values on every ski, and so we can get pretty specific, but we have to be careful not to overburden the system. We don't want those guys to find a ski, to be looking for a ski that doesn't exist. We want them to zero in on the best quality, and so we're really relying on them to take our preferences and turn those into good skis.
And when are we going to see those skis here, and what happens when they get here, because they won't have customer names on them?
Right. Well, so Fisher skis should have been picked and on the water a while ago. They should be showing up, I would think, fairly soon. Matsus and Solomon, we've always finalized our selections later, and so those pick lists are just heading out, and we've basically been setting up the systems for selection. So that stuff will arrive later in October. As you mentioned, generally the skis aren't going to show up with names on them. Normally when we unpack, we've already got a database by serial number of which ski goes to which skier, and we're like 2/3 pre-sold normally when we get the ski, when we finish picking the skis. And so 2/3 of the skis that show up are already sold and have names on them. Mm-hmm. So that work is what we travel to Europe to do. This year, we've been sitting home riding bikes and hanging out and eating blueberries. So we have a little work to do when the skis arrive, because we have to go through.
Yeah, that usually takes quite a long time. It takes some
Well,
serious long days.
It does take some long days. We're not going to be looking at hundreds and hundreds of pairs. Well, we are going to be looking at hundreds and hundreds of pairs of skis, but not thousands and thousands to find those hundreds.
Yeah.
We're going to be working with the skis that arrive. If we really don't like them, then we'll have to make arrangements with the distributors to swap some material. It's a bit of an article of faith. I've told a lot of customers that, like, look, I think we can find you a really good ski, but if we can't, we're just going to have to punt a little bit, you know? Mm-hmm. We'll see. I believe that the World Cup guys have understood the requests, and if we get what we asked for, the skis will be great.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot of experience with these materials.
Yeah.
I think we know what we want. It's going to take a day and a half to 2 days per brand to unpack and go through and put names on the skis. There's going to be follow-up communications with customers, but it'll all work out okay. It's going to go pretty rapidly.
And we had asked originally, I think in a early email about deposits. I haven't really been asking customers for deposits.
We did. We said we were going to request deposits, but that's not because of cash flow problems. That's because of commitment issues. I mean, I think the whole world kind of understands that racing is questionable right now.
Right.
So this morning, the Masters World Cup got postponed for a year. We've got a lot of people who had expressed interest in or signed up for our waxing services there, have been sort of deciding whether to buy skis specific for that venue or more universal for general fleet development. There are going to be events canceled. The first big one was today. American Birkebeiner is still a go though, and they're running their big running race, later in the month. And so we don't know. I think we all expect racing to be pretty modified. When we said that we were interested in deposits, I think we were anticipating that.
Yeah.
And anticipating like a fall surge in cases.
Right.
That surge kind of came midsummer, and I think everyone kind of wigged out a little bit midsummer.
Right.
And now it's normalizing a bit. I expect there probably will be another surge later in the fall. Once all the back to school stuff kind of settles out, we'll see another uptick in numbers, but we're getting pretty accustomed to this now. And if you look at the procedures being put into place by like NENSA, for example, for their Eastern Cup races, they've got tons of contingencies. They've been running roller ski events, like they put on that App Gap Challenge last week as sort of a proof of concept, and they can scale those concepts for the safety of organizers and participants. There's going to be racing. So in June, when we sent out that note about deposits, we were anticipating that a bunch of people might order skis and then realize that racing wouldn't be happening in the same way they expected, and then cancel skis after we had made commitments. At this point, I think we've been pretty clear with everybody that an order is a commitment, and we will not survive if 40% of our orders get canceled. We'll be out of business.
Yeah.
So, we need commitments, but I don't feel like at this point we need to charge huge deposits in order to have those commitments. I think everyone recognizes the situation we're in.
And we're starting to get a lot of phone calls about how to place an order. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so we have a new order form, which I'll link somewhere near this video.
Is it linked on our website?
No, of course not. It's only in an email. Come on, you think I've been working? I had the best bike ride a couple days ago, but it didn't really lead to more marketing access. No, we're really ramping up the marketing now. We've got a lot of content coming. I've developed a lot of it already, but I require you to sit still and follow your script. You're doing a really good job following your script so far.
Thanks.
Pretty impressive. There's a form. We're using a Google form this year. We used it with our midsummer report when we sent out the first solicitation for ski requests. And it worked great. And we will start to use that more.
Okay.
It's nice because it's pretty universal. It's a different method than we've used in the past, but it has worked so far in the first run, and I think we'll continue to use that this fall.
And have those all been added to the pick list?
Yep. Nope. Almost.
Okay.
No, there's still a few that I'm working on.
Okay. So how are we doing on sales compared to last year?
We're down. We expect to be down. We ordered maybe like 70% of last year. Currently, to date, we're over 80% of last year's orders. We might be looking at a little shortage.
Yeah.
Hard to say. It really depends because we're still about halfway into the ordering season.
Yeah.
If we get a big stampede of orders, we might really be scrambling. But then if we get them early, we can probably place reorders.
Reorder.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also the possibility that things will open up. I mean, I think everybody has expected everything to get worse and worse and worse. And it might just it might remain the case that Americans can't travel, in which case we won't be able to travel.
Yeah.
But it might also, things might equalize. As caseloads come up throughout Europe, their tolerance for the American situation, if the American situation stabilizes, might be okay. The response to midsummer cases seems to have been a general uptick in the wearing of masks and all the kinds of things that help to slow things down. And we have seen the transmission rates slow down throughout the US. So if it continues that way, we might get access sooner than we think and be able to travel. Like in December, I've gone to Norway the last couple of years, and who knows, maybe we can pull that off.
And usually this time of year we start plugging a lot of marketing for the brands and the new skis. What's the plan for that?
Well, so the Fisher and Solomon materials are basically unchanged this year. They're the same cosmetic, and more importantly, they're the same under the hood. They're the same skis. And so there's not a huge amount to say about what's new there. Basically, you and I need to record some conversations about what we found with the skis last year,
Yeah.
and that will probably happen. You might want to change your hat after we're done with this so that it looks like a different day or presentation.
Change my shirt.
Change your shirt. Yeah.
It's a little smelly anyway.
Matsus is a whole new story. Redline 3.0 is here, and it is different in a number of pretty big ways, and some of them are really considerable when it comes to the performance and the skier experience on the snow, and yet subtle in the way they evolved. So it's a pretty long story to tell. So I've developed a basic marketing piece to put out there in writing that sort of tells the story in our normal excessive depth, but not too much. But then I've also shot a huge amount of video with Pat O'Brien, who did a lot of testing last year on prototype material
How
and
many
working with
hours
athletes.
long is that video?
That is an hour and 22 minutes worth of video. We're not going to use all of it. We're going to split it up. But then I also shot another hour and 20 minutes worth of video with Connor Green, the engineer, who worked specifically on this development project since Redline 2.0. The evolution from 2.0 to 3.0 has been the project that he's been the engineer involved with. And so we have a lot of inside information from him. And so there's a ton of material to present, and that'll come out over several installments and increasing depth. And it's going to really identify the nerds out there.
Like all 5 of them?
All 5 or 6 people who can sit through a video talking about the insides of skis, and
Yeah.
we're going to get all of them.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Is there other stuff we need to cover in this video?
I think we got it all.
We got it